When have you been sure that something was a sexual advance, but it was actually perfectly innocent? Doing an outdoor project with the school, we made rockets with baking soda and vinegar. Got some of the foam on my clothes, shirt, pants. Hot girl I had a crush on said let's go to the bathroom and clean you up. Both 17. Actually went to the bathroom, she waited outside while I cleaned myself up. I was pretty disappointed. Met a girl through a friend, his roommate. First time we met I'd come over to his place to play some video games. She joined in, we started talking, had a lot of similar interests. Friend went to sleep. She asked if I wanted to stay and watch a TV show we both liked that she had on DVD. We watched from about 11 PM until 6 or 7 AM while talking about stuff, laughing, having a good time. She said she liked my hair, which I remember specifically because it was the first time anyone other than my mother or grandmother had complimented me on my appearance. We were going to the same college so we met up after classes a few times, watched more TV, movies, played video games, etc. My place and her place, a few times into the early morning like the first time. She invited me out to a concert with her and some friends. Concerts weren't really my thing but I liked hanging out with her so I went. Her friends were having a little get together after the concert and invited us over. We went to her friend's place on the other side of town, had some drinks, talked with friends all while she's almost clinging to me. She asked if I could give her a massage, so I'm doing while all her friends are looking at us like get a room already. 6 AM everyone is going to sleep so we decided to go home. She invites me to stay the night at her place since it's closer so we catch a bus to get there. At her place we talked a little bit more. I say I should get some sleep since I have class in about 5 hours. Say I'm okay with the couch. She grabs me a blanket and pillow. I lay down and a few minutes later she brings out her pillow and gets under the blanket too. Okay, sure. I really like being with her. It seems like she's really into me. I'm usually really cautious about this kind of thing because I've had nothing but bad experiences in the past, but this feels like a pretty safe bet that she's hinting at something. The next time we met up we are watching movies again. She asks for a massage so she lays down in front of me. I'm giving her a massage and give her a kiss on the neck. Not a lot of experience with this stuff so maybe I went about it the wrong way. And she turns around and looks at me like what the frick was that and says UHH. Don't do that. We're just friends. She moves away. We finish watching the movie. And she goes home. I'm thinking well, I fricked that up and read it all wrong. But whatever, I'm fine with being friends. Over the next couple weeks, she started having excuses why she can't hang out and eventually just stops responding and completely disappears. I asked my friend, her roommate, what she was up to and he says she moved out. Never heard from her again. My self-confidence was so destroyed after that wild incident that I'm terrified of ever making a move again. Yeah, that's not behavior I would consider perfectly innocent. I don't think you misread that at all. I had a friend where there had been some sexual chemistry with over the years, but nothing really ever came from it. One night, out of the blue, she texts me, would you rather have sex with my friend or me? I knew both girls, but didn't know the friend super well. Regardless, I answered you, to which she responded wrong answer, and then terminated the conversation. I am still perplexed to this day. Worked in a call center that was basically open seating. You'd pick where you sit during your shift as long as a station was open. On Saturdays you could pretty much have your pick since it's not as busy so far fewer people working. I would always try to find a station not near anyone so I wouldn't have to make small chat with people I didn't really want to talk to. One day a black female sat down next to me. As she was on a call she slipped me a note that asked, do you like dark chocolate? I start to turn red because I did not find her attractive, but did not want to come off as racist. I just half looked her in the eyes and shook my head no. Couple minutes later I glance over and she has a pile of dark chocolates sitting next to her mousepad. I had a cute gal tell me she really liked me and wanted to hang out very badly. I asked her out for dinner and she suggested we make a day of it instead. Sure, why not? We went out for lunch, went for a hike, went back to her place, where she made a bangin' dinner, then went out for drinks and to a comedy club. Afterward, as we were parting, she leans in for a hug and tells me that I smell great. I take my cue, lean in for a kiss and she goes red and backs up and says, good night. I had fun. Let's hang soon. Moments later, she texts me, "I'm sorry I was so awkward. I didn't see that coming. I think you're great, but if you want any kind of romance, we need to sit down and have a long talk. TLDR. We went on a date. She thought it was a platonic hangout. As a girl, I won't be spending so much time with a guy if I didn't have at least some feelings with him. Definitely didn't see that coming as well." When I worked at Outback, someone came in asking for a takeout menu. Then he asks, "Is your number on the back?" I'm like, "No sir, it's not." Then he made it clear he meant Outback's number. Or he was interested and just took the rejection super smoothly. I worked in a noisy warehouse. One day guy walked over to my department and shouted at me, "Hey, where's the penis?" I stood there staring at him with a disgusted WTF look on my face, and he eventually walked away shaking his head. About 60 seconds later I realized he was asking where the packing peanuts were. I was actually the one doing the innocent action which was perceived as sexual. I was at a Reddit gathering and was telling this story of a creepy cab driver to a guy there. The cab driver had stroked my leg in real life and it was super creepy. So to give the same creepy vibes, I stroked the guy's leg who I was telling the story to. I really wasn't trying to be sexual at all. Well, turns out he thought I was hitting on him and now we are dating. I matched with this Tinder girl that seemed great for me. Redhead, attractive, into playing video games. I was stoked. Within about a week of texting, she invited me over to her place to play some COD and hang out. Immediately inviting me over. I typically read that as a signal she wants to get busy, but I stayed reserved just in case. So I go over, and we started playing COD. I never was really good at the game, and online I'm getting smoked. After maybe half an hour of playing, she invites me into the bedroom to watch Netflix. Now this was right when Netflix and chill was a thing, so I got excited. She led me into her bedroom, turned on Stranger Things, and then she went and turned off the lights. We're laying in her bed, cuddling, with the lights off, watching the episode, and I turned over and tried to kiss her. "What are you doing?" "I'm trying to watch this." "Oh, sorry." So we proceeded to watch Stranger Things on Netflix for around 2 hours. I didn't even realize how much time had gone by. In my head I was trapped in this swimming cloud of confusion about what was going on. Was this a prank? Is she just shy? Is Barb still alive? When I finally looked at my phone for the time, I thanked her for asking me over and saw myself out. A few days later, when I texted her asking what the frick any of that was about, she said she just wanted to make friends off of Tinder and didn't understand how any of that was leading me on. My girlfriend who doesn't laugh at anything lugged at your Barb comment wah. Neighbor got a new clit ring and was really excited to show it off, and really excited while showing it off. Mentally, when someone is spreading their lips to show you their clit, something sexual is going on. Was kinda awkward. I was dating my now wife at the time, and when asked if I wanted to see the neighbor's clit ring, I assumed she was joking. Was kinda awkward. Understatement of the year. Not me, but my roommate thinks any guy that makes a nice comment remark about her is hitting on her. Gets a little frustrating because she works in retail. She will come home and tell me all about this gross customer at work that was hitting on her and blah blah blah. What did he say? Oh, that he liked her t-shirt. WTF. Hi, I have a boyfriend, K. I was on the opposite side of this. M was on a business trip and had dinner with some colleagues. The restaurant had a huge chessboard in the waiting area in front of it. Me and a female colleague that I had just met started to play. I dominated her pretty thoroughly, and she was asking me about strategy and stuff. So we had a pretty good conversation during dinner about it. I said we can play a game tomorrow if you want and I can show you some stuff. The hotel I was staying at had a really nice steakhouse attached to it. So we made arrangements to play the following evening over dinner. Everything was going well. We were playing, talking, etc. Until I mentioned my wife or my kids or something. I don't remember exactly. She immediately got pissed off, accused me of being a cheater, said that it was disgusting what I was doing and that she's not that kind of girl. I was dumbfounded and it was clear to her that I didn't understand the hate. She said, as if to explain it to me, "What is this?" generally motioning with her hands at the table. I said I thought it was just chess. She said, "You invited me to your hotel to just play chess." and you had no intention of anything else happening incredulously. I apologized for misleading her and tried to convince her that I wasn't trying to seduce her. I told her that in fact, I generally don't reveal that I like chess because it's super nerdy and very unattractive to women. But she maintained this position that I was just casting a line, hoping for a nibble. I tried to explain that I wouldn't have mentioned my family if I wanted to seduce her, but she said a lot of guys do that as a way to declare that this is not a serious thing and just sex, but that she is not that kind of girl. I'm not sure if she never believed me, or if she was embarrassed for misreading the situation, but she maintained the same skepticism for the rest of the time I knew her. It kind of sucked because she seemed like a cool person otherwise. Just a weird miscommunication, I guess. In her defense, the one thing that didn't work in my favor was when she asked if my wife would be happy that I was out to dinner with another woman, and I said probably not. I wouldn't be crazy about her having dinner alone with another guy. She asked if I would tell my wife and I said probably not. I wouldn't hide it if she asked, but there's no reason to create concern when there is no need for it. So I can kind of see how she would take that as kind of shady. Maybe it was, but I genuinely had no intention of anything sexual happening with her, just lonely on the road and looking for a chess game. I tried to explain that I wouldn't have mentioned my family if I wanted to seduce her, but she said a lot of guys do that as a way to declare that this is not a serious thing and just sex. She is right on that part. I've known a couple women who only dated married men because there was less chance of entanglements. A friend of mine was particularly naive, so I've got a lot of these. For the record, we were in college. If I said your face looked like a couch and I want to sit on it, would you be offended? She legitimately didn't know face sitting was a thing and was surprised when I told her she was basically asking for oral sex. This is so pretty, just like a golden shower. It was a sun shower at dusk. The explanation of golden shower disturbed her. She ran up to me once and said, "Hey, guess what? I'm a spinner," then proceeded to spin in a circle. I asked where she heard that, and apparently some guy had said it to her in passing and she thought it was funny until I explained what he meant. She walks up to me sheepishly one day and asks me to lean down. I'm 6 feet 3 inches and she's 4 minutes and 11 seconds in heels, then whispers in my ear, "Will you be my nightmare?" I don't know what that means exactly, but yes. Then I remembered who I was talking to and asked her to clarify. She wanted to make a costume from an anime. The name of the matches in the show were nightmares. She just wanted me to make a robot costume to go with her character. There were a few other weird things. On more than one occasion she brought me curry, my favorite food, saying she made too much. She actually had made too much and was out of Tupperware. She gave it to me in 2 paper bowls taped together. Repeatedly asking me to get dinner with her, come over to her dorm alone at night to lay on blankets next to each other to watch movies and study. Years later, it turns out it was her roommate that was into me instead. That was pretty awkward. A fairly new and very cute friend invited me to crash at her place after a long night of drinking and karaoke. I'd stayed there before, but tonight, instead of making up the couch, she acted as if it were taken for granted that I'd be sleeping with her in her bed, as close to a green light for interest as I'd thought I'd seen. So, we got into bed and chatted some more. I initiated some kissing, and she seemed decently into it, I thought. If not eager to go any further, we alternated chatting and kissing, and at some point in the mix I asked her if she'd like to go out. She said yes, and we eventually got to sleep. I had to get up really early the next morning, but she saw me out, and we chatted and reaffirmed going out sometime. All seemed cool. Afterward the date kept getting put off, and she was kinda slow to respond to my texts. Eventually we met up for lunch, and she said that the entire thing had caught her completely off guard and that she hadn't considered me romantically before. So, we ultimately didn't end up going out. All fair, but I was positive there was no way I could have been misinterpreting that one. Still a little baffling to me. This is the kind of crap that some girls do that just leaves me at whole new levels of confused. When I was 15, friends and I used to hang out at the park. One sunny summer day, this one girl in our group of friends came out and sat right in front of where I was lying on the grass. She was wearing these loose-fitting but short shorts, and no panties. How do I know that? Because she sat with her legs slightly parted. I had a direct line of sight to her bare pee. I raised an eyebrow at her. She just looked at me and grinned. I stared directly at it for a few minutes, and she just looked away. So I took that as yup. I know you can see it. It's all for you. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. So later on, I tried to kiss her. She was like, "What the heck are you doing? I only think of you as a friend but. I argued that she'd basically shown me her pee a while ago. She was instantly horrified and angry. What? You could see it? Why didn't you tell me? You sick pervert apparently. She was completely oblivious to the show she'd given me, and I'd read the whole incident completely wrong. So then she was mad at me 4 weeks after. God, it sucked being a teenager. I feel like this would make part of a good in-betweeners episode. No, I was talking about my topical t-shirt. More from the perspective of my ex, but before we were dating I invited her back to my room to look at my new paintball mask while my roommate was gone. She was shocked when we got to my room and I pulled out my new paintball mask and was super excited to show her. She kept messaging things like, "Oh, we've got a hang and I've got an empty house." Turns out she's just a super friendly gal and we're really close friends now. I like how your story still had a happy ending. When I was a kid I worked an overnight shift in a building in Midtown Manhattan. There was an office across the street that was pretty much directly opposite me. There was a woman in there who would routinely face her butt toward me and rub it and such. Finally one day she full on pulls down her skirt and bared her butt at me and then messes around with her underwear. I'm in my early 20s and she's in her 30s. A couple days later I run into her on the street and say hi. She gets super weirded out. I try to tell her that I'm the guy with the office across the street. She says she knows who I am, but how do I know her? I'm super confused at this point. I tell her I don't know her, but I see her every night in her office through the window. She calls me a liar and says that her windows are one way. I disagree. After a minute she tells me that she'll write her extension number on paper and put it in the window. After a quick call she no longer would fix her skirt in the window reflection. You idiot. You should have never called that number. I had a little shindig at my house with my bestest buddies and I invited a girl I was head over heels for. We had been on several outings, either were dates. We got thoroughly drunk and I went outside to have a cigarette. She drunkenly followed me outside and sat in my lap even though there was another deck chair, literally inches from mine, and we started some kissing and heavy petting. She said, verbatim, "I've been waiting so long for you to kiss me." We make it back to my room and get in my bed, where she said, "I'll do anything you want me to." But she slurred too much and I felt bad, so I put her to bed and joined my friends for the evening. The next day I took her to breakfast and we had several more makeout sessions. So I had assured myself that her interest in me wasn't from drunkenness. I text her later and ask her if she wanted to see more of each other and that I really like her. She said that we were just friends and if I thought we were going to be more than that I was misleading myself. I'm still kinda confused about it. Dang, that's rude. A simple no thank you would do. A girl I used to work with was always getting changed in front of me, even though there were changing rooms just down the hall. She'd even change her bra and panties, often whilst standing right in front of my desk. I asked her out for a drink. We had a great night, and then when I kissed her goodnight she was horrified, and things were awkward at work for weeks. A flirty co-worker calls me at about 10 PM. Just broke up with Mike. I need to go out and get drunk. Are you with anyone? It should be just us. We go to the bar. She buys me 2 drinks. We're dancing and singing along, physically flirty, etc. I go to kiss her. She sees it and panics and quickly turns away, so I pretty much end up headbutting her. Nothing ended up happening besides splitting an Uber home, where she quickly goes, "K, definitely getting out here alone, bye." Never go out with freshly single co-workers. I had a female friend go to pat my thigh with playful condescension and miss patting my penis directly. She got beet red and we laughed. It was pretty funny. I was going to a group camping trip, and a girl I'd been friends with for a while invited me to share a tent with her. She was fairly insistent on it, actually. This tiny little tent that barely fit both of us. And then she was fairly snuggly the first night. So I gathered my courage up, and when we got a bit of alone time the second day, I tried to kiss her. Nope, just friends. Didn't screw up the friendship, thankfully, but lord was it awkward that night. Fairly. Had just started working at a restaurant in my early 20s and had been hit on by almost every guy in the building that day. As my shift was coming to an end, a cute guy walked up and asked if I would mind giving him a ride home. His car was in the shop. I said sure. We chatted the rest of our shift doing side work and got to know each other a little better. We get to his house. He invites me in. We smoke a little. Everything is going really smoothly and I am digging him a little. Then midway through our conversation he starts telling me about his boyfriend and starts showing me pictures. It completely caught me off guard because my gaydar is on point. He was literally the straightest acting gay guy I have ever met to this day. His boyfriend was not. That's just a man comfortable with his sexuality. I was out partying with a bunch of girls. I was the only guy in my internship and we all hung out together on Friday nights. Anyhow, one night we're all partying at the local watering hole, dancing, drinking, laughing, the usual. So one of the chicks who has always given me extra attention is all over me, like bumping and grinding on me, and she knows what she's doing. She was hot dogging me. If you're unclear, ask. She's generally just touching me all over. Anyhow, end of the night, I make my move and you'd have thought I was going to attack her. She blamed her flirtatious dancing as her being Latina. I was a little disappointed. Definitely had blue balls. She and I still keep in contact though. She is a good friend. I'm unclear. I was a 30-year-old at community college. A class was cancelled and I ran into a 20-year-old classmate on my way out. She was really cute. I told her class was cancelled. Then she asked me if I wanted to go do something with her. I was like sure, thinking oh yeah I still got it. She wanted me to buy her alcohol for a party. My boyfriend used to accidentally come onto girls without realizing it, often leaving them confused when he didn't get the picture that they wanted him back. For instance, he was super comfortable around people. He'll give his friends a massage or a hug no problem. It's just very genuine and from the heart. Well, a lot of girls don't meet guys that will do those kind of things unless they're interested. So many of his girlfriends in high school and college thought he was totally hitting on them and wanted them, and he was completely oblivious. This is one of my favorite stories from that time in his life. He had this one friend from school and they were hanging out one night. She had stayed there late and was obviously unknown to him. There for him. His roommates were stoner college guys and incoherent drunk passing out, and he was with her on the couch talking to her, massaging her, and giving her his attention. Since it was so late, when it came time to sleep he invited her into his bed. To him it was just the nice thing to do, of course. Why sleep on the couch when there's a comfy bed? So she's all talkative and cuddly, whispering in his ear, and what does he do? Turns around, pulls the blanket over him, and says goodnight. Poor girl must have been lying there like WTF just happened. It was only later the next day when talking to his roommates that he realized what she thought was going on, and kicked himself for doing that to her. To him, he was always just being a good friend. I always admired that his first instinct wasn't does this chick want to frick me, but still, this was a pretty bad miss. Dungeons and Dragons is my hobby. I'm a veteran DM who had a huge player group and I didn't want to run a 9-person party. This woman I knew in college was into that stuff and had DM'd a little. I thought I texted, would you be interested in DMing? My autocorrect sent, would you be interested in doing? She said she didn't think I would be that forward about that with me and I jumped in and clarified my intent. Phew. I had no interest in her and she had a BF at the time. Pathfinder GM. Cause copyrights suck. Here, I use the term DM a lot and girls often think I'm just trying to inbox them on Twitter. B, I want you to explore the fantasy world I have created. I once matched with this girl on Tinder. We got to talking. A few days after the initial match we were messaging around midnight. I invited her over for some drinks. She said let's do something more fun and I got an Uber for her to come over. She gets to my place. We put on Netflix. I try to put my arm around her and she flinches away. We keep talking. Have a drink or two. I try to put my arm around her again and she flinches away again. I apologize. She says no problem. We keep talking. Around 3 AM we agreed it was time for bed so I ordered her an Uber back to her place. Not how I was expecting the night to play out but no big deal. To be fair she said something more fun and you pushed on with the original plan. When I was studying mechanical engineering, A girl in my class, or should I say the girl, there was only one, told about how she liked being around guys because all she had to do was press her arms together in front of her chest to show some cleavage, to get them to do stuff for her. This was a total random conversation over drinks with some classmates. About a year later, I took those classmates to my sports club, and at a certain moment she needed a ride to the clubhouse to go to the toilet. This happens a lot. Guys just go at the side of the field, but girls usually prefer a real bathroom. I was busy, so I said, "Ask that guy over there." So she asked him, doing exactly that thing with her arms she told me about. I see it happening. The guy she's asking sees it too. He looks at me and shakes his head in disapproval, but gives her a ride anyway because it's just a normal thing to do. She might still think it's the cleavage that convinced him, but she didn't know that guy is as queer as they come. We had a real good laugh about it afterwards. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.